Hello everyone. In this video lecture I will discuss the concept of vector data model. In the last video lecture I already discussed the concept of raster data model. So let's start with the concept of vector data model. In vector data model, the vector represent discrete objects on the surface of the earth such as street light, road, building, either as a point, line and polygon features or geometry. So the point is that in the vector data model everything we represent either as a point or as a line or as a polygon features or polygon geometries. All types of geographical data we represent using those three. A point is a single xy coordinate location or a vertex. Point, its location from the origin point, its x displacement represent as a x coordinate. From the origin point, its vertical displacement represent as a y coordinate. A line feature is made of two or more connected xy coordinate location. At least consist of two coordinate or two vertex or called vertices plural or more than that, and all those vertices are connected with each other and represent a line feature. A polygon is made of three or more connected xy coordinate locations or vertices, forming a closed loop. So multiple vertices are connected with each other and create a closed loop for U. So finally, when we present all those point, line, polygon geometry, the vector map shows the building, water and land features as polygon features. Roads and public transportation routes are also shown here as a line features. So in your choice you can represent building as a polygon, building as a point, road as a line or road as a polygon, or tree as a point or as a polygon. But that's way we can represent, we can prepare a vector map using point, line, polygon, such type of three geometries. Just like raster, vector data also have attributes. Point lines and polygons are comprised of both geometry and attributes, which provide additional information about the feature. For example, if you draw point, it has a attribute. If you draw lines, it also have lot of attributes. Polygon, same thing. So every geometry is consist of some sort of attribute information. Attribute information for vector data features is stored in an attribute table. Every geometry has such type of table and they store such type of information. For example, if you consider this is a one shot of river or river, then its information, attribute information are stored here within attribute table. So every vector data have their corresponding attribute table information. So that will describe this river, describe this building. Attributes for vector data are stored with each feature. So if you draw 5 points, so for the 5 points, 5 such type of records are stored within the vector data. If you draw 10 row lines, so 10 for the every lines, their corresponding record information are stored there. Each row or each record in the attribute table represents one features in the data. So that's the point I told you just few minutes earlier. As you know, in my previous slide I told you. So every geometry that consists of some sort of records, and those records represent some sort of attribute information. So as a brief, vector data consists of features or geometry. They have a geometrical information either as a point, line, polygon, and they also have a attribute information. Okay, so but the thing is that vector data not only represent discrete building, river, pond, tree. Vector data can also be used for representing continuous geographical phenomena. So representing real world features with vector geometry. All the real world geographical features that we found, that we can represent using vector geometry. Sometimes the choice of how to represent a real world features with a vector features on a map is easy. So the thing is that how can I represent building? So the answer is very easy. I will represent using point. How can I represent road? I will represent road as a line, river as a line. How can I represent a district boundary? The answer is very easy. We will represent using the polygon. The scale of a map can influence which vector geometry type to use to represent features. But whether I will represent building, river, either as a building as a point or building as a polygon, river as a line or river as a polygon, that mainly depends on the scale of the map and the purpose of the map, for which purpose you are going to prepare this particular map, and most importantly, what should be the scale of the map. Small scale map can use less detailed geometry. So if you prepare a small scale map that do not contain very high detailed geometrical information. For example, a river may shown using a polygon at a larger scale, but a smaller scale map, the details of the polygon are not at all visible. So a line is a more useful choice. So let's see this particular illustration. Here in a small scale map, the river we can represent as a line features, but in a large scale map where we will see the detailed informations, but if you see in this small scale map, the detailed information are not at all visible. So in the large scale map we can represent river instead of line as a polygon geometry. Okay, so it depends, the ultimate point is that depends on the purpose of the map and the scale of the map. Now vector data can also represent for continuous geographical phenomena. One example is there, we can use mass points. Mass points are point height measurements. This is nothing but a collection of points. Every point represents some sort of height measurements. But you see the spreadness of the point. Here the points are near to each other. Here the points are far away, sparsed. More mass points in areas where the surface is highly variable. So this particular region is highly variable, and fewer in places where the surface is less variable. Here you can see less number of points, so surface is less variable. So this is one way, based on such type of mass points we can represent also continuous geographical phenomena like elevation, temperature. Now another one is there, we can use lattice, by which we can also represent continuous phenomena. This is nothing. This is This is also the collection of points, but in a structured way, where we store the point information in a row column way, and they have a equal gap interval. Representation of geographical surface using an array of equally spaced sample points. Representation of geographical surface using an array of equally spaced sample points, which is called mass points, something like this. This is the mass points, equally spaced, just like, almost looks like a raster data, but remember, this is not a raster data. Each mesh point contains the height value at that location. Now, if for your better representation purpose, I show you this lattice in a three-dimensional environment. So where point height is less, something like this, where point height is gradually increasing, such type of 3D view is there. So such type of lattice, which is also called fishnet. You all of you, most of you already saw fishnet. So such type of fishnet structure we can also use in vector data by storing mesh point data in a regular interval, equal interval, and that we can represent. Then we can also use contour and isoline for representing continuous geographical phenomena. You all of you know contour is a line on a map that join places of the same elevation, height above sea level. So something like this. This is a contour for a particular region where every imaginary line join equal elevation value. But instead of contour, there is a isoline, is a line on a map connecting places of equal values, any values, such as equal temperature, equal pressure, equal rainfall, equal humidity. Once you join all such type of equal values, that will present isolines. So in this map we show the USA isoline, which represent equal temperature value, and that we join in this way, which is also called isotherm. So based on such type of imaginary line vector data, we can also represent continuous surface. But the most important one is that what I think is that is called triangulated irregular network, TIN. Using this TIN structure, we can also represent continuous geographical phenomenon. TIN represents a continuous vector surface as a set of contiguous non-overlapping triangles. These triangles are constructed by few sort of sample observation points. Now the question is that how can you collect such type of sample observation points? Generally, we collect such type of sample observation points through field survey. We collect supposed to be for the city of Kolkata, we visit few location and we collect this location's temperature. So based on this sample observation point, we can prepare contiguous non-overlapping triangles. Sample observation points are connected with a series of lines to form a network of triangles. Within each triangle, the surface is represented by a plane, because as you know, every triangle has a plane, and this plane will represent the particular surface like temperature, elevation, rainfall, whatever. So this is the things, those are the sample points. Those sample points are connected with each other and they create a network of triangles, and each triangles have a plane. This plane represent the surface. Surface means temperature, elevation, rainfall, whatever. And actually it's represent something like this. It represent in this way such type of tin structure, and based on these point combination of lines and triangles we represent a triangulated surface. So in my opinion the most popular vector data for representing continuous phenomena is TIN, or triangulated irregular network. Now finally we will conclude with some of the common vector data file format we used in GIS. As like I told you in my last video, there are so many raster data file formats are there, so also so many vector data file formats are also there for storing point line polygon in computer. So one of them is there, very popular, is called shapefile. Is a popular vector file format for storing geometrical location and associated attribute data provided by this Esri. Very popular. A shapefile is actually set of several files stored in the same folder. The three mandatory files have there .shp, .shx and .dvf stored here. Then lot of other types of file formats are also there: AutoCAD, DXF, drawing exchange format, drawing interchange format, sorry, that can be used for content for storing or for exchanged drawing file. Then there is a very popular KML, keyhole markup language format, which is used by Google Earth, primarily used for representing all types of geographical data in Google Earth, which is nothing but a XML based format, extensible markup language based format. So shapefile, DXF, KML is a very popular vector file formats are there. Then another one is their topologically integrated geographic encoding and referencing, in short, which is called Tiger vector file format, used by the United States Census Bureau to describe all their census data, both attribute and locational information, using this Tiger vector file format. There is a very popular nowadays one vector file format is there, which is called GeoJSON. It is a lightweight vector file format. Because why it is lightweight? Because this GeoJSON vector file format can be also used for representing data in web browser. Lightweight vector format based on JavaScript object notation, or JSON, mainly used for publishing vector data on the web browser and mobile apps. In mobile apps, if you want to represent geographical data, then most of the time we prefer then this GeoJSON file format. And one is their OpenStreetMap, or OSM in short. This is the largest crowdsourcing GIS data project of the entire planet. That means anyone, even you, can participate and you can develop OpenStreetMap data. The vector file format is .osm. OpenStreetMap is a OpenStreetMap's XML based file format we used. Very popular free data. If you want to download from their site, you will get data file format in .osm format. Okay, so those are the different types of vector data file formats commonly we used in GIS. Okay, so that's all. Thank you.